Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Not really sure how exotic and rare this is. I picked this up 2 years ago when I was back in the States in Virginia because it was a Virginia whiskey. All right, so it's Filibusters from the Filibuster Distillery, dual cask finished in French oak barrels, straight bourbon whiskey. All right, handcrafted in oak barrels. I have batch number 58 and I have 45% ABV for U90 proof. This does has a whiskey base number, 41278. And the finished in French oak actually says in the back that they were California wine casks. Ooh, interesting. So, on the back of the bottle, there's some important information. Let's use the word important here. First of all, it says here, distilled and bottled by Filibuster in Mowertown, Virginia. It says distilled and bottled by. So they made this themselves. At the very, very beginning, Filibuster started by an interesting guy. Let me see if I can find his name again here. So about our legacy, nope, our team. So Zidhart Dilawri, sorry, I'm very bad with Indian names. He moved to the States from India in the year 2010, started up his first brand, Filibuster, a few blocks away from the capital in Washington, D.C. Now, in Washington, D.C., I'm going to say it's impossible, if not almost impossible, to have your own distillery. So he went to the Shenandoah Valley and started his own distillery there. And it was named Filibuster. At the very beginning, they had sourced whiskeys from MGP. Then they actually mixed MGP and their own, and now they exclusively have their own. I'm going to complain a tiny little bit. When I go to our team, I expect to see people that work on the stills. Whiskey Jason, expect that. I go to our teams on filibusterbourbon.com, and I see the CEO, co-founder, Sid Hart. And I see Mitch Cannon. It's a brand manager for Filibuster in the states of Virginia and North Carolina. Hey, I'm glad that we have Mitch, but where's the people doing the actual work of distilling, of warehousing, of gift shop, and so on? Everywhere on the website, there's reservations, come on over, visit our distillery, which I think is fabulous, but I think it should be a little bit more of the actual people there. All right, so Filibuster, according to the website, is distributed in 18 states, soon to be 28, and destined for international release. I just love how the marketing people phrase things. Destined for imminent international release. All right, so if we go over here to the distillery, they have a good thing here going on. They do talk about the water. They talk about the water being harder, more limestone influence than actually in Kentucky. And that's what Kentucky says makes their whiskey the whiskey it is the hard limestone water. Well, Shenandoah Valley has even more limestone. They have some great limestone caves you can go exploring and visiting and touring. It's beautiful there. I did my first honeymoon in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the Shenandoah Valley. Beautiful, beautiful place. And this whiskey is made there. They also talk about the grains they use. They actually have their own wild, and they call it tamed yeasts. They have 2 distinct mash bills they use. They have even put the mash bill on the bottle here. 70% corn, 20% rye, and 10% barley. They put it in new charred oak casks. And then, and aged less than 4 years. That's what you need to save it straight. A new charred oak cask. Then we give it a dual cask spin with a secondary rest in California wine barrels. The first thought that appeared in my head is, okay, in California, do they use French oak? Yes, of course they do. Not all of them, but yes, they do. And then the second thought was, how often would a winery, a vineyard, use a French oak cask before giving it up to someone else? I mean, it has to have at least, I don't know, many cycles. I'm thinking 10 before the vineyard says, hey, the cask is worthless for us. There's no more um, imparting a flavor into our wine. So we're just going to give up the barrels and then give them to the Virginia whiskey industry. I don't know. Price anywhere I've seen, I think I paid $30 for it in the ABC store in Virginia. I see 45. Let's see. I'm going to go buy it now from the distillery here. I'm a Virginia resident, and I'm going to pay for a double. Where is it here? So the dual cask straight bourbon. Oh, it's going to be $45 now. All right, so I was there 2 years ago, so it has changed prices a little bit. It says $46.99. Let's see if I'm a non-Virginian resident. What would I pay then? So, $42. I get $10 off my first offer with first order with Liquor Express. I can get it for $32. That's great. If you're a Virginia resident, you're going to pay more for a Virginia whiskey than if you're outside the state. Good job, Virginia. ABC, control state. What am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to this. We have here Angel's Envy, 43.3%. Over here, I'm paying now 55 euros for this. Now, at the very beginning, I was told, this might be wrong, but I was told at the very beginning, when I visited the distillery 2017, that they actually use Californian port wine casks. Now, on the website, they explicitly state, and I'm going to have to mention this every single time I talk about this for the next 3 years, they use Portuguese port wine casks. Yay. All right, but what I really despise still, distilled in Kentucky, bottled by Louisville Spirits Group. They opened the Angel's Envy Distillery 2016. I visited them 2017. I visited them 2022. I think 2020 as well. And they're processing, they're making great spirit in Louisville. Why isn't it exclusively Louisville made? It is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which means you can put as many different whiskeys in there as you want from one state and still call it straight bourbon, as long as it's over 4 years of age. If it's under 4 years of age, put an age statement on it. So this is not exclusively, according to the label, made here at the Angel's Envy distillery, but it does say on the back. Let's just read this once again here. All bourbons are aged in charred white oak barrels, and in that respect, Angel's Envy is just like every other bourbon. However, unlike others, Angel's Envy Spirit is just Angel Envy spends its last 6 months in port wine casks. All right, so 6 month finishing a port. Here, I did not know information about how long the secondary rest is. I read online somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks. Now, that might be wrong. I don't know. All right, so, but it did get 92 points here. Maybe that's the reason I bought the bottle back then. Judging of Craft Spirits Gold Medal 2020 from the Wine Enthusiast. So, all right, let's nose, let's taste, let's review, let's compare. On the nose is not bad. It has a little bit of crafty moment, a little bit of graininess. Much more of the typical Kentucky flavor I'm used to. Pecan, has that nuttiness. It has a little bit of brown sugar, oak, spice, not craft, mainline, normal stuff. All right, so 45, 43.3. On the nose, definitely go over here to this one. Do I get any port? Do I get any wine? Is it a white wine cask? Is it a red wine cask? Who knows? I would like to know. Give me more transparency. We love transparency, don't we? All right, good. Cheers. Hmm? That's very interesting. So it's like, that's I would start here and go up there. Oh, that this got some transitions. Has a little bit of a jammy, forest berry type of moments, and then I swallow. It's like, oh, it's young, it's green, it's a little bit of spirity moment, and then it kicks in a little bit of stringency, a little bit of the French oak, maybe going in there. Um, it's like, yeah, and if you add a little bit of water, this is my personal experience so far with this bottle, just a tad, take it from 45 down to maybe 43.3, add a little bit of water, and it just smooths out that. It just does this then. And then it goes up. So this is going to be a C whiskey, maybe even a C plus with water. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does have that crafty moment still, which means it's more grain forward than expected. Has a little bit of pepper spice in there, but that bump, that dip, put a little bit of water, gone. As I said, C on a good day, C plus whiskey. It used to be $30, now it's $45, so it's going to be a C to C minus for the price point. I can get some pretty good whiskeys over here for a much, much better price. But that's just my opinion here. Up to 45 euros, I can get Woodford Reserve Double Oak over here. I can get Old Forester Signature 100 proof. I can get Maker's 46. I can get Balcones Texas Bourbon. I can get Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I can get the George Remus. I can get a Jack Daniel's Sweet and Oaky. I can get the 1792 Small Batch. I can get the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel. I can get the Wild Turkey Long Branch. I can get the Cooper's Craft. I can get Basil Hayden. I can get Maker's Mark 101, and I can get Evan Williams Single Barrel for under 45 euros, which is cheaper than this. And all of the things, except for maybe Maker's Mark 101. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm sorry. I love the 46, but the 101s just didn't hit it off with me. Um, I would prefer over this. So this is 55 euros. This is 10 euros more. Cheers. Mm-hmm. Some batches have more port influence than others. I was told when I was there, the first time they leave it in the barrel maybe for 3 months, and then the second time maybe for 6, and maybe the third time for 9. And I did hear that when I was there, they rejuvenate at least their bourbon cask. No, it's not the bourbon casks, they're rum casks, which means they basically put rum in there and then let it soak in again to the wood and then put in the whiskey again. I was told, might be wrong, who knows. I have no idea what they're doing with the port. I do prefer this. It has more of the classical bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon big boy moment. Uh, this with water can almost compete, so I'm going to put this also at a C plus. Value for money 55 C. I can get the Legend over here for 55 euros. I can get this for 55 euros. I can get the Michter's Bourbon for 50 euros. I can get Johnny Drum Private Select for 50 euros. I can get Heaven's Doors Double Barrel. I can get Uncle Nearest 1884. I can get Rabbit Hole Cave Hill. And I can even get the Journeyman Featherbone. Wow, that stuff was good. Very crafty, but very good. So, just different things I can get instead. My question of the day is, what is your favorite? I'm going to use your favorite finished whiskey. I almost said your favorite wine cask finished whiskeys, because my favorite finished whiskeys are going to be double oak from Woodford Reserve. They use two new casks. Um, my second favorite is going to be the Maker's 46. They put actually then the little stave, the strips of wood in there with French oak. Oh, I love the 46 from Makers. It's so good. So there's not wine cask finish, but these are. And so what is your favorite wine cask finish product? Or, next question, what is your favorite Virginia product? Is it Catoctin Creek? Is it Reservoir? Is it Filibuster? What is your favorite product coming out of Virginia? Could also be a good question here to ask. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others. And I hope to see you real soon here by Whiskey Jason, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American that lives in Germany. Bye-bye.